We are back, and you know what that means. It's time to overreact. Well, maybe you didn't know that, but now you do. And after watching the first 3 games, it's safe to say that this G2 can not only rival, but surpass the G2 of 2019. Yeah. Okay, calm down. Yes, I know it's only 3 games, but guys, hear me out. Let's start by looking at the stats. Stats don't lie, right? Stats are science. On this side, we've got G2 2019. It's all right, you know, 53%, okay, 1.8K at 15. But on this side, 2023 G2, that is a big 100. 100 is a great number. Almost 5K at 15. This team is insane. This is claps, not craps of years before. Now, yeah, I get it. You might be saying, that's not a fair comparison. It's only 3 games, blah, blah, blah. Shut up, Sebastian. No one asked you about your degree in statistics. What people are asking about is Yike, or as I like to call him, Baby Canyon. Rolls right off the tongue. Yike is the hottest rookie prospect in EMEA right now, and an aggro in-your-face counter-jungling machine that will steamroll the competition. This guy is on fire, first in everything. He's #1, man. But of course, jungle diff is just lane diff. I get it, you get it, we all get it. And the good news for G2 is their lanes are always different. In the good way, right? You got Sama, a seasoned veteran, now free from the Saltlands. He's been reunited with his old duo, Sir Michael X, who brings the spice. Like salt and pepper, these two just feel right together. I mean, look at them. Embarrassing Fnatic running them over in the lane. Sama on his Draven gets the earliest mythic item of all time. And then Caps, look at that flash right in front of the abscond abduct. It's just absolute perfection. I mean, if Caps is returning to form like this, surely there's no way he could ever lose to a Korean mid laner, right? If he just plays like this, it doesn't get any better than that, right? And Broken Blade, I mean, look at the top side. What else is there to say about him? Just look at him. He's G2's top laner, and he's a really nice guy. So they've got the early game, they've got the players, they've got the smiles, right, that can melt your sadness away. But is this enough to get them close to the peak of G2 2019? No, absolutely not. It always was and always has been about the random shit these players play. Like seriously, what are these drafts, right? Give me some drafts. Who in their right mind plays these champions? Right, who plays this? Zach mid, Karma top lane? I've never seen anyone have fun playing those champions. Shut up, Sebastian. I don't want to hear it. No more of that. They exist. And that level of insanity is why I believe they can surpass the G2 of old. And with all of this in mind, in classic G2 fashion, I fully expect to see them lose to SK today.
Wow, what a great intro. We don't need to say anything else. The Broken Blade part.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
He's also
really nice guy.
Ender was still there for a second.
Still there. He's a good player. Yeah.
He plays the top lane.
It's hard because here's the thing: is that Ender big up G2, and I want to give credit to SK. SK like pulled off a sick win versus Team Heretics last week.
Yeah.
And they were doing, they did it, played that game super well, and I want to see what they can do today. But this G2 is on a roll. And they're in that mode right now where I feel like we just believe they can pick anything, that they can play anything, that they can do anything. And until someone proves us wrong, it feels like an easy assumption to make. It's like the meme. Their clothes better, their shoes better, the baba better, like F everybody else. Whack.
This time your hair, whack. Your clothes, whack. No, it's crazy. We'll see if they can pull out another spicy draft. I saw on Twitter, Marcoon tweeted at Mickey X and said something about Caitlyn support, and then Carrie actually commented on it, saying, yeah, play it, something like that, So maybe Mickey's been inspired and, he just decided to play it. I mean, I've heard stories of Caps waking up one day and saying that he wants to play Kog'Maw mid, so this G2 lineup never really surprises you.
Yes. Sadly for SK Gaming, I think that the wealth of options available to them are not quite as big. I would love to see them keep it simple. Now, admittedly, the Renata that DOS had last week, not a champion I'm used to seeing in the meta, but did look super good. I would love to see their bot lane on similar comfort picks this time around. And overall, it's a tall task to say just draft scaling against G2, but I feel like if you're gonna win, you either gotta cheese them, which it's hard to out-cheese G2. They got a whole charcuterie board, ready to go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But they're gonna try to mash them fire for fire in the early game. This is wild.
So Sejuani and Yuumi are up, and I thought, which one are they gonna go for? They actually go for Elise. They want to go for a little bit of early game. Yuumi didn't work very well for Fnatic, a lot of scaling. They don't want to go in that wheelhouse of being pushed in. Sejuani, Yike's going to pick Graves or something, or Kindred or some power farming jungler and just outpace you. Elise, take the aggression to them, fight fire with fire. With the Heimerdinger and Ashban, they're going to go for the Varus. See what jungler they opt into though.
And I will say that at least the pick, obviously we saw earlier in the previous game, didn't love the Malrang version. I'm sure if it had, popped off and gotten a few more kills, I'd be here praising it. But we'll have to see what Marcoon's version of the Elise does look like in this game. Obviously against an immobile champion like the Varus, it's always going to feel good if you can land those cocoons from the Fog of War. The burst potential was there even for Malrang when he was pretty far behind. But it is odd to see this prioritized as a first pick. Yike going to pick up exactly what Jankos did in our previous game. And if you can weather the early game storm of the Elise, Graves just feels like he has so much more impact.
Yeah, and Graves' kit, of course, provides things like armor. Elise can try to tear through. Oh, they are going to go for the Yuumi anyway. Are we going to see Zeri as well, or are we going to see some kind of Sivir into the Varus? Sivir into Varus makes a bit more sense because you can just tank up the Qs with Spell Shield. And now what support do you go for? Is he going to go Caitlyn support? Is he going to go Karma support?
Kalista
support? Are they going to drop support to 4-5 because they've got a whole kitchen pot cooking something up and go for something like Cassante instead? I don't know, it's G2, man. Like, maybe this Varus is going top, who knows? Maybe this Graves is a mid laner. But it's going to be a Lulu, so it looks like it might just be on-hit Varus with Lulu support into Yuumi.
Wouldn't be super surprising. We'll see if that is actually the on-hit build coming through. Obviously, synergizes pretty dang well with the Lulu, but not a super spicy bot lane matchup. Now both teams matching each other in the first pick phase, so can look to take away some premier mid or top lane options.
Yep, things like Cassante, Azir are top of the kind of solo lane list. Things like Fiora can work as well. We saw that last game for Regenda, more of a side lane pick. Akali Sylas still quite viable. Zeka has been playing a lot of those champions and being targeted, of course. And Worlds last year, that's kind of stuck with it. The meta, it's kind of very similar. But yeah, solo lane bans will come in. G2, what do you blind pick? I think top lane is the easiest to go for on 4. Jace would be a nice flex for them. Jace Varus with some kind of mage mid. Or even a mage top, depending on what they want to do. Gwen taking away some AP solo laners here from Broken Blade. Gwen quite tough for Elise to dive. I think they're targeting things that are very tough for Elise to dive. Renekton is another one, which, do you want to give SK Renekton? Do you want to take it away? Incredibly powerful dive comp.
Yeah, G2 will have the luxury of blinding it if they want to. Generally a champion that I expect Broken Blade to be able to play pretty well. What is the option going to be here for Irrelevant? Very good Gnar player last season. Maybe something he wants to go for again here.
Ooh,
no, stop. This is the immortal fate of a G2 roster that is performing, is you just get hyped over everything. You're like, it's a Lulu mid, isn't it? It's a Lulu top. Just wait, we'll wait.
We'll wait.
Ooh, Aurelia.
Oh, it's Draco. It's just, you just
no, you're right. It's so tempting. You know what I mean? We're going to wait.
Akali.
Everyone's going to wait. Akali, there we go.
Okay, Caps Akali, right? It's Capsis, right? It's not Broken Blade.
Stop.
Okay. Akali locked in. I think an easy thing here for SK is just Renekton in the top lane and go for Azir mid. Standard, good scaling, good team fight. We saw it last game from Heretics. Didn't see the Renekton, but the Azir just so powerful in the late stages. But they've gone for Sion top blind. I feel like you're just giving Broken Blade an Aatrox angle there. But they're definitely not diving top. Elise has a tank behind her, but doesn't have to be super proactive in the early stages in terms of finding top dives.
Sion, definitely an interesting one. Curious what the itemization is going to be coming through for this pick. Obviously, the only time I see Sion is on the boss's stream, so I don't want to use that as my expectation for pro play, because that's a very different kind of League of Legends more often than not, but we do now have the Azir coming through, so it commits the Sion to the top lane. Azir, again, scaling is the name of the game. SK have a ton of great scaling tools, good team fighting, fantastic front to back, the Elise kind of balancing out some of their early game, but makes it easy for G2 if they just want to grab the Cassante here.
Yeah, you're right. Irrelevant doesn't really want to get banned after this game. He's got a game tomorrow as well. But yeah, Cassante locked in. Very simple comp for G2. Nothing really special out of the wheelhouse, anything crazy, unless they're going to do something like Cassante mid, but I doubt it. But very well-rounded. Caps on Akali. They've got range matchup bot, Cassante top, and I mean, it's a very similar comp to what Heretics was running on the top jungle, of course, so we'll see how they interact. SK, just good scaling, good front line, front to back. A lot of wave clear as well, so we'll see how G2 progresses this game in the early stages. Akali quite weak early, can't really get mid push until around level 6-7. Bot lane will be very tough to dive with Elise, keeping up with Graves. And top lane is just a tank matchup, so I think SK are probably pretty happy with this draft. A slow and steady game is what they want, and Elise is their bridge to the late game.
Yep. See exactly how G2 want to blow this game open, see if they can, again, secure bot lane pressure to allow Yike to be so aggressive to maybe shut down some of the options that Elise will have available to her in the early game. G2, pressure on them to find the leads, to take the advantages, to make sure that SK cannot just sit comfortably and scale into the late game. Have to expect that they are still the favorites here, regardless of their picks, but maybe, just maybe, SK can make a miracle happen. Find a game here would be crucial in their race for top 8 and making it to the group stage to best of 3s.
Really would. Every game counts, only 9 of them, and this is their 4th. This weekend is so important in picking up those wins. You don't want to be stressed going into the final week.
Absolutely. Only so many opportunities to find these wins. G2 may be a loss you're expecting, but all it takes is one of those upsets to really shake up the standings. As we get ready for our game, it is time for SK versus G2 Esports. I said 2 things in Champ Select. I said cheese them and/or outscale them.
Okay.
They've chosen and. They will not find anyone waiting in that brush, sadly.
They've chosen and. Yeah. G2 have chosen to match it a little bit. See if they put a ward down. Marcoon actually started sweeper. Normally you see them start ward and then swap the sweeper. So they won't actually have a sweeper for that ward. We'll see how much of the Elise it tracks. But it looks like it will be a topside start for Marcoon as he pats up there, so that'll spot him. Does shoot out the... He started E, so he can't actually fire it off. So very standard level 1. Bot ward there in the middle brush to get push for Hans and Mickey. And topside ward to spot out Marcoon, as I said, it's gone to the bot side. And likely to path up unless he wants to do any kind of level 3 shenanigans on the bot side.
It is obviously very difficult to gank these K'Sante lanes. But Broken Blade has opted for flash this time around. Makes sense when so many of the Scion damage is so telegraphed, when you really do just need to get away from that cocoon, even if you can go unstoppable.
Ooh, nice thing by Yike there. Animation cancel the E into the wall. So instead of dash autoing, he just instantly auto attacks, so it makes your clear faster. If you've ever done or watched Graves full clears at maximum pace, that's exactly what they'll do. Always make sure they E the wall on the first auto.
Nice little bit of tech have available. On the level 1, as expected, going in the favor of G2. Level 1 for Yuumi, obviously starting the E. She just doesn't have a lot of damage, certainly not enough to match Lulu's passive as well as her early abilities.
So Marcoon actually, what he's done, quite smart actually. I'll bring up the replay here. It's been warded on his entrance Raptors, but he knew that. So what he did was he did red into Raptors, looking like he's going to go topside, and instead ran around towards his Krug, so maybe he can look for an early bot dive. The only problem is that ward on his blue didn't spot him out, and Yike's going to walk in here now expecting to fight a level 2 Elise on her Gromp, and she's not there. So now he's saying she's likely bot side, I'll take these camps, and it's a bit of a split map. G2 bot lane needs to be very careful here because it actually favors SK. Now they'll spot off Marcoon. Communication coming in, ward dropped. But this favors SK a little bit because top, I don't think there can be much action.
Yeah, Certus as well, having pressure in the mid lane means it's pretty much free reign on the bottom side here for Marcoon. Fishing for the dive does feel a bit aggressive, but maybe something they could look to go for. He's just using the spider there to spot out a bit of vision. Needs to start working on these camps, however, as that got started a lot earlier than him and is going to be ahead of the clock.
So it's just going to be both junglers full clearing either side. And Caps is the one that needs to be careful right now, it looks like. Taking some heavy trades. This is what Marcoon does here. He needs to take these camps away. He should know that Graves is just full clearing his top side. But here comes the dive. TPs available for both solo lanes. Cleanse on Hansama, no heal. No ignite for SK either. Could just go for the Lulu.
Nope, they sidestep it. That's going to be big. Mickey shielding as long as he can. Hansama now getting taken down. That is massive for SK. Wave crashing into the tower, and Mickey forced to take it. Are they going to go for the redive?
Yeah, they just have to not use Cocoon, just walk up to him and just do damage.
Flash out for Mickey X, trying to make his way out to safety, but leap in for Marcoon. 2 quick kills for the side of SK.
Marcoon, very smart pathing, using the enemy information against them. Yike thought he could fight him on Gromp there and get an early lead for G2, but it's actually Marcoon who outsmarts him and is showing bot. Yike can't run through mid to bot and stop this dive. He's going to lose way too much. He needs to take away the camps. And that opens up an avenue for a 3v2 dive. No TPs, caps too low, and Broken Blade. I think he might have got cancelled on TP irrelevant. I didn't actually see the lane state, but either way, great early game here for SK.
Absolutely excellent. Coming back with the extra dagger as well as the Bandle Glass Mirror, just making the lane that much easier as we see this one more time. The raw power of Elise at level 3.
Beautiful execution. Marcoon, even though he missed the cocoon, doesn't really matter. Hans will use cleanse anyway. Just runs it in, pops the damage, X-kick flashes forwards to help. Now here they're like, let's back away, but I think they realize how easy this dive will be. They don't even need to shoot a skill shot. Just walk up to him and throw your spells. He's basically dead. No one needs to flash. Dos uses the heal so he doesn't die to Mickey. And Certus.
Caps. Going through Caps' health bar. Yike, though, coming in. Certus just going to try to slide and glide out to safety. Yike with no red buff is not going to overextend on that kill, just trying to make sure that Caps can safely farm this mid-wave.
Look bot, Marcoon hasn't done anything else. He just bought Sorcerer Shoes and ran bot. I think he's showing now, though. It looks like G2 bot lane maybe warded that out or spotted him, so he's going to run away. Information given across to G2 where the enemy jungler is, so Broken Blade can play a little bit more up. Irrelevant yet, TP back to his lane. Top winning in isolation. But yeah, looks like both bot lanes are just quite vulnerable right now. No summoners on either side, only Hands with the flash up.
Of course, it's just so difficult for Sion to do a ton in this lane phase.
Oh, Irrelevant cancel his base there. That is so greedy. That opens up a dive potential. They've got level 6 on Casante. Just way too much greed here.
Back out under the tower. Relevant flashing now back into safety. Zombie form from the Sion always makes this a little bit difficult, but Broken Blade and Yike are going to do so much damage. Easy, quick kill pickup, and they're out before the zombie can even come through.
Massive disrespect from Irrelevant. He was sitting under tower for about 2 or 3 waves there on 40% HP. No mana, just trying to catch waves, saying I'll stick around till the cannon wave so I don't lose as much. Very greedy, ends up getting dove. Good dive. Marcoon trying to take away the Gromp here. Doesn't have smite. Hans. Oh, close. Almost steals it away. That would be horrible for the Elise. Caps coming down, level 6 to level 4. No flash on Marcoon. X-kick trying to base. Drake still up. So even though SK got a nice lead on bot side, G2 have salvaged a little bit through top. Broken Blade can just sit in isolation now. There's no need for Yike to revisit. Level 6 Sion has the ult. Will be a bit difficult to kill. So just let the Casante play alone. I don't think they have the damage to kill him either, and G2 will probably play towards bot side now.
See what they can do to get themselves out of a bit of a deficit. The 800 gold, though, of this about 1,000 gold lead is DOS. And obviously Yuumi getting strong early on is annoying, but not nearly as annoying as the Sivir. So, all things considered, G2 not in too bad of a position, but very well played thus far from SK in the early game. Have to be careful about overextending here, though. Slow, going to get thrown down by Han Sama. Yike will be spotted out on the control ward as DOS continues to step forward and just getting the pop and block passive.
They're fake pressuring here. They're saying, my Elise is behind me. We're going to buy as much time as possible so you don't take this ward. And maybe that allows Marcoon to walk into the enemy red buff respawn. We'll see what he does. Looks like he's taking top scuttle now, but he wants to defend his bot camps. I think this is pretty smart by Marcoon. If he goes top side and takes away red, and Yike takes away his red, he's allowing his bot lane to be dove, be exposed to any kind of play from G2. Might catch him off guard here. Fighting bot.
A little frisky. Excellent sidestep there on the Q. That's going to be massive. X-kick now needs to back off.
Does he flash forwards?
Still stepping forward. Good Q from downtown. Mickey now trying to follow it up. The Ignite ticking, burning. X-kick taken out. It's a raw 2v2 in the bottom lane.
Big play there from Hans. Doesn't even have to use a flash. Caps. Gonna get pushed back. Yike fighting the Yuumi.
Ult out. Yike has to be careful here. Marcoon does a lot of damage, but Mickey's staying in the area. Ready to body block the cocoon if he needs to. Trying to keep Yike safe. Mickey getting hit by the cocoon here. Marcoon not going to swap forms quite yet. Have to be careful. The spider. We'll make it out. The shield, I thought, might time out there, but able to make that work. Hansama now taking over to level 6 means Marcoon has to be very careful about re-engaging this.
Oh,
flash ult. Oh, flash rather, not going to connect. Marcoon with a nice sidestep. So many blinking health bars. Maybe they can just cancel the bases here, but Akali already moving down now. Caps, of course, with no ultimate, but just wants to protect his bottom side of the map.
Frustrating play there from Marcoon. He really wants to pick up at least one kill. Ooh. Gets nothing.
Caps getting frisky.
Yeah, looking for something, but no ult. Just puts a ward on the red to see if Marcoon sticks around. You know, he's really low HP, 10-20%. If Caps walls over and that red buff's pulled towards the Elise, then he's just going to run her down. Instead, she's on the Krugs, and the base will come through. Yike got all his top camps to clear now. Ult back to lane there from Irrelevant to pick up the wave.
Good old farm alarm.
Yeah. Just in time. Basically a TP global. But great play by G2's bot lane. X-kick didn't have the flash. They punished it. They got the kill. Hans playing with a lot of confidence, stepping up despite them having barrier. They didn't have heal. So they get that kill. And now Yike actually starting up the Herald. Mickey X is on his way. Maybe they think that they have a good timer here where Hans is in isolation to push out a wave or play safe enough that they can force this Herald down and then get back in time to bot side for Drake. There's a ward on the red, so they know Marcoon is bot side.
That ward very crucial. Caps using his lane priority just to get that one laid down. So Marcoon gonna grab red buff, gonna take over to level 6, gonna be feeling pretty good about that. Caps gonna have to play safe in the mid lane. Hansama gonna have to play safe bot lane as well, especially now that the Herald has dropped and they know Graves is on the top side of the match. It's Relevant here, who could be in trouble. He used the ult to get back to lane, will not have that for the dive.
So Yike is staying. He's taking away blue. This is the exact same situation as level 3, and they're just going to give SK a dive situation.
Doesn't have Clanton Sama! Like, that is not your push! What are you doing?
The play here from G2 is very spread out, a little bit confusing as well.
Pull back.
Broken Blade.
Solo Bolo. Broken Blade, keeping it going forward here. Irrelevant. There's not really anywhere for him to go. Yike tanking the tower to make sure they can keep this going. Irrelevant ticking. Flash in. Broken Blade now needs to make it out. Taking the side of the tower. Boom! Oh, the big slaps from the zombie Scion.
Marcoon.
Bit ill-advised there, and Marcoon really just dominating the bottom half of the map. G2 do get the 1-for-1 on the top side, but overall, coming up very much in favor of SK.
Yeah, I have to criticize Yike's decision a little bit there. Gets the Herald, great. Normally what you do in pro play, especially in a situation like that, when you get the Herald for free and your supports helped you, you base with the Herald recall and you sprint bot as quickly as possible. Cover the dive on the way.
Push back, Caps.
Might
Could use the ultimate.
Caps. Doesn't die, doesn't go in either. Normally you base straight away after the Herald because you cover the bot dive and then you get a net Herald plus and you make sure they can't dive. But instead sticks around, a little bit greedy, takes away top camps, and now Hansama falls to Marcoon. And it's all about bot lane here for SK. Still a 1k gold lead. Dragon's still up though, no objective snowballing in their favor, and Yike can clear out red. Raptors move down here, use his Umbral Glaive to restore a lot of vision, and then look for play of his own. So here's the replay of the top lane 1v1. So Irrelevant sidestep towards the end was a little bit confusing to me. But I think maybe he knew. No, he doesn't have vision on Graves, so I thought he sidestepped here on the Graves ult, but he doesn't actually have vision on him. Watch this sidestep. Just kind of. Oh, it actually hits him. Never mind. So I just built him a play for no reason. In live, it looked like
sidestep that did not happen.
This is the Baus classic, isn't it?
Didn't even need to sidestep, and this is the tragedy of Cassante. There, he just pulls the Scion back into him.
Yeah.
And those.
Oh, here we go, round 2.
Knock up coming through.
Just a wet noodle fight, really, isn't it? No one could do damage. Everyone just grasp stacking each other.
Thrilling action on the top side of the map, but Yike gonna try to grab a dragon, first dragon of the game. SK holding on to a small gold lead, but not too much here. And Certus, I don't know if that's where you wanted to step up, but Caps taking 2 tower shots suddenly makes that trade look a lot more appealing.
What's happening top? There's a massive fight going. Irrelevant, does he ult back?
Ult's off, cooldown. Ooh, gets in front of the ultimate. That's gonna be big forces to flash out from Irrelevant. Good advantage to have, all out. 20 seconds. He's going to dash to the side here, get away from the decimating strike. I think he's learned from his past mistake in terms of not pulling in a dead Scion.
Yeah, especially when he's got no flash up. So a lot of action top. Off screen there, we saw G2 doing the dragon. They picked it up. They still have the Herald. Exakick doesn't want to walk. Ooh, Hans throws out the ult. Bit greedy.
Ooh, I have never seen that emote. That was great. Shout out to Exakick, but does walk away from that one. And good spell shield just to get that health back.
Yep. Marcoon's going to clear out his top camps and move back towards this bot side. G2 trying to get a push going here. Sivir and Yuumi going to be really, really strong here. The on-hit Varus not even close to his mythic. And then there's the Kraken Slayer for Exakick. So the 2v2 is in their favor. Certus has the crown as well, so that'll negate a lot of all-in from Caps. Plays like this where he just won't really fall to anything. Nothing to really be scared of. Can step up. So the Herald's going to go mid instead. Marcoon's still around this bot side. TP from Irrelevant. To clear out the wave.
Charge gonna come in. Will get 1.5 plates as Caps now backs away.
Here comes the bot dive. Ping's coming down. Hansama can't really step up this wave. He has summoners, but plates going over to Exakick. Yike's gonna make his way down, but he's on vision. Marcoon can look for a pick, drop the cocoon, and then oh!
Yike. Good sidestep now trying to make it back. Kind of safety flashing out. Big ulti now going in. Caps wants to get the shutdown onto Marcoon. Big damage. He dashes through. That is it. 450 gold in the back pocket of the mid laner for G2. Certus now in trouble. He's got a cap strapped to his back, but it might not be enough. Certus healing up. Certus trying to stand strong. The Sand Soldiers not dealing enough damage. Or will they?
Certus.
Exakick getting in, and Certus still stands. SK taking another fight in their favor, continuing to find edges over G2.
2-4-1. Still a 1k gold lead for SK. They can't get anything off the back of this. Broken Blade's the biggest winner here. He's just been sitting top this whole time, getting tower plates, and that's why it's slightly even in a trade, because the Xante in isolation is just 1k gold up now. But it was so close. If Certus fell there, maybe Caps could get out, and it'll be a 2-for-1 in favor of G2. Nice try from both sides. So the flash cocoon actually misses here, Marcoon. Just a little bit too wide. Yike doesn't really dash in time, and he dashed in a straight line anyway. No repel, no flash, Caps all-ins onto the Elise. Dos notices that and goes towards Certus, but the ult from Mickey and the exhaust, I think, comes out. So it becomes a bit difficult, actually. The exhaust is onto Yike, so it becomes hard for the kill to come through. The arrow just misses. If that landed, Certus would die. And then Caps has no energy here. Pops a W, Q hits, but he needs an auto attack. But he can't walk up with the auto because of the Sand Soldiers and the Scion Q charging. And X-Kick, yeah, can't really gap close onto Mickey, who has no flash. So Herald spawning soon, 49 seconds on that. Caps looking for something towards his top side.
And I want to give some credit here to the bot lane of SK, because when you look at G2's bottom lane and you look at SK's struggle in the first week outside of that game of Heretics, we did not expect this to be a matchup where the game was decided, although Markun now getting frisky. We may have to hold that thought. Yumi ult now coming out. Hansama, though, finally able to connect on the ultimate, stops that play in its tracks. But I'm not done. I still want to give credit to bot lane, because Das on the Renata, alongside the Zeri coming in from Exakick, and their win last week was incredible, and now they're looking to replicate that same performance here against G2. That said, Irrelevant struggling here on the top side. They can just take the tower in his face, sadly.
Forwards. Yeah, I was thinking the only way out is forwards, but the block comes in.
Ultimate keeps him chasing. Looking to land the Q3, flash forward, Q3 bringing him back, but they're taking so much time in the meantime. Surta's breaking the top lane tower.
Yeah, should get the wave, or at least try to focus down the wave, and then it'll be a good death. They get bot tier 1. Maybe they can look for bot tier 2 here. The Azir can be quite quick on the tower damage with soldiers if he can proc 3 of them. There's one. The Elise is right behind him, going to Spider Form with the W. They'll get a lot of attack speed to try to burn this down, and if they can do that, then it's a kill in a tower for a tower, 2 towers here in the bot side, and it's a tier 2 at that, so a lot of gold in the back pocket of SK. Good game so far from them. Good early game. Weathered the storm, found plays of their own, and now they're off to a lead still, maintaining it. Herald goes over to Yike. I think that's going to go mid and break open the mid tower of SK, and that should help them fight this next dragon, which I think G2 want to focus on. They want to focus on stacking these dragons.
Certainly do. Caps dashes back out to safety. Limit testing there as he goes forward. And one thing I will say is that we have a lot of similarities to the Koi comp in the previous game, but one of the big differences is the top side of the map. It's not a Fjord, it is a Scion this time around. So if SK can continue to build an advantage, they'll have a much easier time pressing it around these major objectives. They have a go button, they have a Scion ult, they have a frontline tank. It'll be much easier for Exakick and DOS to really bring it home on that back line.
That's exactly it. The Scion's job is just to run in a straight line and tank up as much damage as possible. The only issue I think SK will have is how do they deal with the Akali. They don't really have any point-and-click CC. The Azir ult will do wonders with the crown. It's just about peeling as much as possible. They have exhaust, barrier, heal, so they have summoners, but they don't have lockdown. So eyes on Caps. How much can he get done on the back line? No flashes yet for any of the carries.
Spotted out here, Markun now on the chase. Caps level 11. Good rocket belt to take him away from the Cocoon, just out of range here. You can see SK just hoping to catch one of the flanking members of G2 exposed, but Caps constantly threatening onto the side. SK have to be stalwart here, cannot let him onto the back lines. Caps now leaping back, Surtus leaping forward. Of course, the crown falling away, though. Caps getting pushed back into the rest of the team. Goes in, and now they've got the dragon as well. In the meantime, Irrelevant managing to take that one away. Huge shutdown, and here comes the death ball. One after another, SK will fall. Broken away to the back line, trying to get anything, absolutely anything done. Mickey grabbing the kill in the end on the Sivir, but it will cost him his life as Surtus looks to chase this one down. Mickey's still running, but Markun around the corner. There is no way out. SK taking the fight, taking the Drake, and Hansama might just be next on the menu.
Markun looking, no cleanse. He has the flash if the Cocoon comes out. Looks like he will be safe, but 4 for 1 in favor of SK. G2 are just uncoordinated around these fights, and SK are playing it fantastically. They're doing exactly as their comp tells them to. Stay together, group as 5, make sure they're playing a front to back. The only difference there was Surtus dashes into Caps to try to zone him away. And then Caps decides to go in. The Dragon Smite was, I mean, just a complete miss by Yike. Markun wasn't even close. Irrelevant just hit it when he was on 70 HP and picked it up. And the Yumi ult does so much work in shutting down the bot lane of G2. No mobility whatsoever. So we'll see this again. Caps looking for a flank. SK staying together, but Surtus dashes away to push him back with the crown. And then as he dashes in, he gets pushed into Markun. So now all of a sudden they found a pick, but look at Irrelevant. He just hits the dragon. Markun is not even close. So they get the objective. Caps dies. And then they realize they can turn here. Yumi ult comes out, no mobility whatsoever, no one can escape, but Broken Blade tries his best to turn the fight. That's not a poke Varus, that's an on-hit Varus, but he can't auto-attack. SK is playing the fight beautifully, making sure they zone away the carries.
And it's so hard to play on-hit Varus without that big beefy front line like SK has on the opposite side. And while there is some small credit that goes to Irrelevant for taking that Drake, that's a fumble from Yike. That said, the beautiful marking of Caps on the flank, the fact that SK pushed him back to the rest of the team, shut him down, did not let him, as we talked about, find a way into the back line, that was very well played from SK. Now, admittedly, we're going to give up the mid lane tower here. Despite that, though, they're holding on to a pretty significant gold lead, 2.5k, 19 minutes to the game. This is the only team who's really had a significant lead over G2 the entire year thus far, and it's SK Gaming.
Game is in their hands. They have fantastic scaling. They're ahead going into the mid game, and they're sieging onto this top tier 1. X-Kick needs to be careful.
Big damage coming in from
Solo
Sama.
killed here, maybe.
Block on the Q is massive, but Mickey now chasing.
Ooh,
Shirelia's. Oh, they're full committing to this one, going back over the wall now into the pit with Yike. You do not want to get in close combat with the Graves, but Marcoon now looking to fire back. Bow is there, but it will not be enough. Shield Bow.
TP's coming in from Caps. They're
Taken
looking for
away.
Certus.
The fight's still going. Mickey gonna get knocked out. Mickey
Irrelevant.
surely is set to fall here. Irrelevant is not gonna get the opportunity to channel the Q though. No decimating smash now pulled back to the rest of the team from Broken Blade's ultimate. Certus to the backside. Uncontested as he throws down damage. Broken Blade will fall. Caps. I don't know if there's anything for him to do here. Tries to dash through. Will get the shutdown. Gets pushed out. Gets taken down. It is a scrappy fight, but at the end of the day, SK is still finding advantage.
Such a messy fight. It all comes off the back of Hansama looking for Exekick, but it's the Azir that's the biggest threat right now. Close to 2 items. I think he will have that in base. 4-0 and 4 Certus. 1.2k gold up on Caps. So in the replay, we'll see the 1v1 come out. Mickey is quite close, and it looks like SK is looking for top tier 1, so Exekick's trying to rotate up there. Gets caught off guard. Yike is right behind him. But this is where we'll see the collapse come in. The top side of SK is moving away from that tower to try to help out their AD carry and Exekick. TP's come in. Play looks good initially, but this flash from Marcoon, Hans has flash here. Needs to get the kill quick and then move towards the rest of G2 to help out Certus. Has the crown. No real lockdown for G2, so Certus just dashes past him. This Sion ult was beautiful. Turns it around the corner, it hits onto Mickey, soaks up all the bursts from G2, and then Certus can just dish out damage from a range.
So much damage coming out. Marcoon as well. Throwing down the combo,
Baron.
has the stopwatch, and they're gonna set their sights on Baron. It's a fed Azir. They shred through this objective. I mean, as much as the team can at 20 minutes, shred through their objective.
Gone. Yike needs to get there quick. He has no flash. Irrelevant's just staring at him.
Yike now walking in. They're going to grab that one. TP now coming in. Maybe they kill the Sion, but SK have already got the Baron at 20 minutes. They're dominating G2. Caps on the flank. He knows he has to get something done, but On the Hunt comes out and they just walk away. SK so damn clean around the objective.
Yeah, Irrelevant's just an information bot. He's just a human ward. Walk in, find the grave, stand in his face, and try to buy as much time as possible. SK get the Baron. G2 have the numbers advantage, but they don't have any waves to play on. Azir, Sivir, there's no way they can siege a tower. Marcoon actually looking for a kill.
Yike should just get taken down here. Heals off the smite, trying to back away for now. Mickey shielding him up. Broken Blade now wants to keep the fight going. This could be big. If they can take down 3 Barons, it would be everything. Elise goes up, but she must come back down. Certus goes in. Certus finding the advantage. 1v1 Certus versus Hansama, but the Azir is so damn strong. Certus showing up when it counts.
Certus having a fantastic game. Stellar performance on this Azir. Doing so much damage, there's nothing G2 can do to stop him from such a large range as well. On a numbers disadvantage, Marcoon has the confidence to look for a pick. Sees Yike going for his Raptors, calls Certus over. The damage actually not there because of the shield, the smite, the Gore Drinker, everything coming in. Kills the camp, gets the shield reset. Broken Blade looks like he gets so much damage onto Marcoon. The repel comes up, but Certus flashing behind them, gets Mickey out of the fight, kills Yike, and then solo kills Hansama off to the right there. And Exekick goes 1 for 1. Broken Blade, Marcoon falling.
And at the end of the day, the carry duo of Exekick and Certus are just so far ahead. Caps now has to be careful on the top side, trying to outmaneuver, dashing through, well played, dash through into the shuriken, flip back to safety. R2 coming out as well, a good escape, but ultimately burning his ultimate for just to survive.
Interesting play from SK. They actually dropped the Drake. They don't have a wave top yet either, so just gonna find as much information as possible. They should know all of G2's bot side. The second Drake, not that important, but it looks like objective bounties are available soon. We'll see if they get it on the Dragon here, G2. But they just want to run it down top. Certus pushing mid. He has TP. Let's go 4-man top. The Sion's job is never to split push. It's just to stand in front of his carries.
And he's doing it well. At this point, Irrelevant bullied. He was the center of attention, but despite G2 finding some dives onto him, being able to take him out, maybe make it look like he has a bit of a lackluster scoreline, he's done so much to absorb pressure while the rest of his team has been dominating in these exchanges. 6-0-5, 3-3-5, 2.5k for both respective carries on the SK lineup.
Broken Blade, no TP. SK probably know that as well. That's 2 towers top. That's mid tier 2. How much further can they go? There's no bot towers to play on, so that's 6 towers down. All outers gone. They don't even lose bot tower. Broken Blade's actually going to base here. That's an objective bounty that maybe they could have forced, but you know, Certus could probably TP in. There's an argument to have there. But yeah, this game from Certus, unbelievable. Marcoon as well, massive shout out to him. His early game, his pathing, the way he played around enemy vision, really, really strong. Big spikes being picked up here. Radiant Virtue for Irrelevant, Zhonya's for Marcoon, Void Staff for Certus. They're only getting stronger.
And right now, G2 don't really have great tools at this kind of deficit to fight SK. In most situations, maybe they can find a skirmisher or an isolated member, but the Elise is so hard to lock down, so hard to take out in front-back team fights. You're not beating Azir Sivir. In fact, Hansama, if he gets off more than 2 or 3 autos in a fight, SK's frontline's probably not doing their job. It should be impossible for this Forest to do anything in a fight.
Yeah, he won't be able to shred through. And it's only him, you know. It's the Azir and Sivir shredding through Broken Blade. But Caps on a front-to-back DPS. He's an assassin. He needs to assassinate someone, but it's so hard. Exhaust, barrier, heal. We talked about lockdown earlier on. It doesn't really matter. They don't have damage right now. Caps can barely finish the second item. Relevant can just push in waves for now. The idea here is that they have so much top push or mid push. If Irrelevant dies, then they get something on this side of the map. But right now they're all in base. Or coming out of base, so needs to be a bit careful. But yeah, looking really tough for G2. Their comp gets outscaled, they're so far behind. The only good news is their SK is not close to a soul, but they can rush Baron down in the blink of an eye and push G2 out of their topside jungle. So G2 need to pull a rabbit out of a hat. I don't think there's anything they can really look for this game. As long as Irrelevant stays with his team. A numbers disadvantage is the only thing G2 can look for.
Certainly. And I think the other thing that makes it so difficult too is it's so easy for SK, as we see Irrelevant doing now, pushing for vision. Just constantly threatened. There is no super beefy frontliner other than Broken Blade to step into this jungle, and even then, if multiple members of SK are waiting, he could find himself bursted down pretty quickly.
It's classic G2, isn't it?
I mean, it is kind of classic G2.
We overhyped them. We say they might be one of the best teams.
Yep. To be fair, G2 2019 also lost a lot of games,
and
but
dropping a game, but
I
don't
think
want
the
to
thing
take
is,
anything away from SK at all.
that's the big thing, because we're going to have enough G2 memes to go around as this year goes on. But SK as a team, when we talked about them at the start of the year, we talked about this as a team that was going to need to develop over time. Maybe it was going to be a spring split project, but this is a fantastic showing. Beating Heretics last week, definitely a good start. Beating G2 this week, super promising. And when you're in a tight neck race, again, to make it in the top 8, to make it to group stage, wins like this matter so much. Like, Fnatic hitting themselves right now.
Oh yeah.
Have to be so frustrated because getting knocked out of top 8 would be crushing for any team.
Feels like a lot of upsets on paper, would you agree?
Yeah,
DDS
I would
beating
agree.
Fnatic,
100%.
Heretics beating Koi. Looks like SK might take down G2. So the standings are shaking up. This is a single round robin. So who knows what's going to happen in the next couple days of games. But 40 seconds on the Baron. SK are just going to get topside vision, push G2 back and rush it down with a Azir Sivir. Should be pretty easy execution. They just need to mark Graves as much as possible. Irrelevant's on his way up. Keep the waves in. And because there's no tier 2s, it's very hard for G2 to defend their own vision. If there was a tier 2 mid there, then it's much easier to play around this bush here. But once SK get that bush, and the one above it, where that blue orb is, that's it.
Kun stepping forward, Polymorph does come out, Exekick now chasing into the mid lane, they're going on to Hansama, Hansama can't do anything, he's drifting!
It's Vin Diesel!
Oh, Tokyo Drift, baby! Irrelevant finding the kill, getting backed up, and they're just gonna break open the base! They don't even need the bear, and SK barreling down mid lane, G2 gonna do what they can to hold on for now. I have to imagine it's just the inhibitor, but maybe they're not done.
They're pushing, Irrelevant's tanking.
Caps on the flank. Oh, SK, this is such a gamble, don't throw it all away here, Marcoon gonna be in trouble. Caps looking for a little bit more. Exekick still straining strong for now. Surge is now pushing him into the rest of the team, but the backline getting devastated by Broken Blade. The shutdowns now coming in left and right. Surtus, it's all on you to carry this fight home. Yike getting cut down. SK, full confidence, take out G2 in the fight.
They need to base quickly here. Broken Blade and Caps need to get back, get the home guards, run out and defend the base. SK realize when the recalls come in, they cannot end the game. Jungler's down though. Was a 1-for-1 Yike for Exekick, a shutdown over to G2, but no jungler means that Baron will fall. Yeah, I expect them to go towards Nash straight away, but they just send it straight down mid with the Sion. Fantastic play from Irrelevant. Gets Hansama's flash, gets the kill. Can G2 answer this?
Just again.
It's a 4v4. They don't have many ultimates to work with. Hans is on the way.
Knock up by a bit more space. Irrelevant in the extended 1v1 should lose out, but the carry line not too far back. 7 seconds on Exekick. Baron not going to be the focus anymore. G2 stepping in. Broken Blade pulling back. They're going to try to take out the Sion.
Wow.
Back off. Just be happy with the pick.
What's the call here, G2? How much do you want to gamble? Do you want to push in this mid wave and just start Baron? See if that's your only avenue back in? Do you want to just go towards Dragon and get the objective bounty? Tough decision to make here. How hard do they want to force to play? This is probably the only time in the entire game that they'll get a 4v5 situation. Look at both side lanes. They're pushing in so much. They're dropping so many minions. But the call is a bit split. Hans is going towards Dragon with Yike. Broken Blade and Caps are still up towards this top side. I think what they're saying here is we're going to get this Dragon, but we want to make sure that Baron doesn't die because SK can still rush it down. 20 seconds on the TP. Look how many blue orbs there are in that pit. Well,
Somebody's making.
It's from the zombie wards, isn't it?
There you go. That ping had to feel good.
So many small little wards to pick up there. You can farm a little bit of vision score, Mickey. Gone. Doesn't want them.
Not interested.
Not interested. So objective bounty. Dragon picked up. Soul point for G2. Will they get the Soul Dragon? I don't think so, but it's something.
It's also Cloud, which is definitely not the ideal role in a game like this.
So here comes Vin Diesel on the Sion. Just bends it around the tower. Just keeps going. And even though he doesn't hit the Barris, he has no flash, so just pops the Q. Follow-up comes through. This is where they try to go for the end. Little bit greedy. Even in a 4v5, SK's positioning is not great. Here he goes again.
Oh, they're just so fast. Hansama, he's just getting bullied. There's nowhere to go.
SK, not going to be greedy. They get the pick onto Hans again, but they're going to go towards Baron.
And you gotta respect it. Taking Hans out of the fight means so much of the damage is gone. In an extended fight, Broken Blade, maybe Yike can do something, but it just feels impossible at this stage of the game. Yike waiting over the wall.
He hasn't got flash. He's going to have to ult into the pit.
Can he get the steal? Knockup is there.
I think he can get this.
Lower,
They need to zone him away. They're still finishing the Baron. What are they doing?
They're still going forward and he gets it! Oh no, SK!
Oh my word.
They don't stop. They don't stop hitting the Baron. Broken Blade gonna dash over the wall. Walk away with the buff, dash to safety.
EU team, stop hitting the objective. This is the second time. First it was the Elder Dragon in the last game. Now it's this Baron here. SK will be kicking themselves after that. They just needed to zone away Yike as much as possible. Even just stop damage and leave it at 3k and have Certus just hitting the Graves over the wall, chunk him out, push him back, anything. But now G2 have a glimmer of hope to just try to hold on.
And the thing is, so much of their decision-making has been aggressive, but also good. They pushed their limits, they found the pick, they started the objective, but rather than wait, rather than stop hitting the Baron, it all just falls apart. The push comes out late.
Yeah, I mean, even what they could do there's so many things they could do. Certus could just jump over alone with Irrelevant and just ult them back while they look for a finish on Sivir. There's 1,000 different outcomes. And there was one where they steal it, and that's the reality we're living in right now. G2 can now hold on to their base. Minute him being down doesn't affect them. Now they're close to Soul. Caps has a Rabadons. Hans has 3 items and flash back up. Now, don't get me wrong, SK scaling is still better, and they're still ahead. But G2 have a chance.
SK have to hold on to the mental. Cannot let that get to you. Cannot let that frustrate you. You're right. They've got the advantage. They've got the edge. They've got a Sivir. They've got a Nazir that'll have such an easy time playing these fights as long as they mark the flankers. They cannot lose sight. And right now for G2, still hard for them to walk into these pits. And again, we got the rinse and repeat every single time his ultimate is up and available. Irrelevant is just going to fish, see if he can find a single member isolated.
Yeah, and we talk about experience. Marcoon is the most veteran player on this SK roster, and he's only been playing a year and a half. And you talk about jitters and things getting to you. These things can really get in your head when you mess up a Baron and the enemy team's all of a sudden back into it. Your calls can be a lot more defensive than aggressive. You play a little bit more reserved, so SK need to keep their foot on the gas. Start pushing in these waves when the Baron falls off. They are stronger. Their team fight is still better. It's just that little bit of doubt creeping in can give G2 options and a little bit of leeway and a little bit of time to breathe to get more items.
Marcoon has to be careful too because Caps is only getting stronger. 3-level edge. Death cap now completed. Zanya's for Marcoon is going to be big. Tower setup, siege coming through. Should be an easy inhibitor. Just have to keep their eyes on the flanks. Good heads-up play from Certus there. Just spot these guys out. But the Spider now coming down. Marcoon going to have to go golden on the Zanya's in a brief second. Getting pushed back under the tower. Caps taking a ton of damage, but Marcoon should fall. No, flashing out safety. Certus is big. What?
Oh,
Can he get
Certus.
him? Flashes.
He's going to chase. He has flash. WEQ can get
Caps
a kill
Yike.
here. G2 are running for the hills. If they can get out and get towards Dragon, then they can look for a contest. But I don't think Marcoon wants to allow that to happen. Needs to be careful, though. Caps can one-shot him here. Who gets the damage off first?
Marcoon. Is he going to test his limits? Caps. Ooh, shutdown coming through is massive. Certus now hunting for Yike. Will not find him. Caps falling is big. Now he's going to find
the shield. The shield stopped him from getting cancelled on the base, but Caps is dead. 45 seconds on the respawn. But there's no waves for SK to play on. Mid's pushed out, they're too far away from top. They chased all the way into their own jungle, and Caps has TP. So I think kill over to SK, yes. But flash is blown. Irrelevant and Marcoon lost their flash. Yike and Caps as well. We'll see a big dragon fight happen soon.
And I think there's just this anxiety when you play against a team with a reputation like G2's that they will find a way back. But again, on paper, when you look at these compositions, when you look how far ahead SK are, it should be impossible. And this will be an incredible credit to G2 if they can mount the comeback, but SK just have to stay focused. Their front to back is incredible. It is easy for them once they push out mid to get vision. They just have to stay focused on the objective. They cannot let this get to them.
They still have control. 10 seconds on the dragon spawn. Caps is coming out of base. Stopwatch for him. They're rushing down BB here. He has no flash. They're looking for a pick.
They have to be careful. Hansama
can get a good ult here, though.
Hansama, if he can just hit the front line, it's going to be so easy for him. Irrelevant. Who is he tanking for right now? Currently, it is no one. Marcoon missing on the cocoon is massive. Knockup connecting onto BB. Not a big deal. Caps to the backside. Going to get pushed out. Going to get one shot. That damage was disgusting. G2 still fighting, but Irrelevant does not care. He just absolutely refuses to drop in the exchange. G2 have control over the pit for now, but it looks like SK just want to go straight for the base.
Yikes trying to get a little bit of the wave. I think he got a couple ranged minions. They need to clear out the creeps. SK only have these little 3 creeps to play with. One of them is 1 HP. Can they end?
Irrelevant still stepping forward. Irrelevant still taking all of these towers. Broken Blade standing strong. Pulls it back. Uses the ultimate trying to shred through him. Goes golden. Hansama holding on for now. Yike under the backside trying to burn through Exekick, but he just will not drop. SK will not drop, but G2 are still standing strong for now. Hansama stepping forward. Has to be so careful. He has no health. Surta's now going forward. He goes golden, but that's just got to be it. It's too easy to finish the job, and SK, they've done it. They've found the upset. They will find their second win in the Winter Split. A triple for Exekick to finish it off.
And that one's gotta feel good. Undefeated G2 looking like the best team in the league. SK pull it off. It was very messy. They're gonna review that Baron play a half a dozen times, but a win is a win.
And credit to SK, drafting a composition that could fight better. The crux, though, the person who had to stand up to make this game work was Marcoon, and he did so. Dives around the bottom lane, shutting down mikyx Hansama, thus far the strongest performing bot lane duo. Laid low there by those dives, by that early pressure, and while BB, they did what they could on the top side with Irrelevant in the end, it did not matter. The sign was the beefy front laner that SK needed to win those fights.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of greedy decisions by G2 in terms of their jungle pathing, in terms of taking away camps, which allowed a lot of options for SK to look for these dives, which put them behind. But Marcoon was that bridge, but Surtus was the slam dunk. His Azir performance, practically flawless, never died. I think he was 9 or 10-0 at the end there.
Which, I mean, also means we have to give credit to DOS, because he did just not let his team die. The exhausts were timely, the heals coming in, the shields, making sure that no one could finish it. How many times do we see blinking health bars for Marcoon or Surtus or Exekick, and they just not quite enough damage to finish the job?
Yep. Great game. Great game for SK. That's a good momentum builder going into the rest of the week. Your first day of the week, 2 more games, and you've just taken down G2. They're going to go in with so much confidence tomorrow. And as much as their first week was a little bit hit or miss, Marcoon especially really struggling in his first 2 games of the 2023 split of Winter. Now he's played a phenomenal early game against G2. He knows he's got it in him. He can pull it out on stage.
And I think the fact that he is the leader for the team, as we know, still such a young player, it's good to see. But I love the contrast from their first game on stage to this game. They look so scared the first game they played. They played so passive. This game, the exact opposite, consistently pulling the trigger. Silent ult off cooldown, they went in every time.
Yep.
Your options for play of the game on Twitter at LEC, Marcoon, Surtus, and DOS. Incredible win overall. Just pick who you want.
The Yuumi, the early game, or
I don't think the Yuumi, even though DOS played very well, I don't, come on. I mean, the Yuumi, come on, you can't give it to Yuumi.
That's our way of protesting.
That's
we never give
suspect.
Yuumi an MVP ever. Never. Mutually agreed. You agree?
I agree.
Okay.
That's enough from us, though. Let's hear what Exekick has to say about pushing R and just running down G2's dreams of being undefeated.
I think he has a lot to say, Exa. Congrats on taking down G2. Let's roll a clip, please, because I interviewed you last week. You wanted to take a picture with Hansama backstage, and you were able to do it knowing how big of a fan you were of him. How does it feel taking him down this week?
Good.
Good, yeah. I can imagine, but
I think it's more my team than me, because I think I played kind of bad, actually, in the bot dives especially. But yeah, I mean, if you want to kill Hans, just let your team do it. And
that's the
get
strat.
carried.
I think it's really interesting when I see your trajectory, because last year in the LFL, you really wanted to take down Reckless. You took him down twice with LDLC. And this year, your goal was taking down Hans so far. So that's 2 out of 2 on your list. Who's going to be the next one?
Tomorrow we play Vitality, right? And I think their bot lane is like probably the second best in LEC.
Yeah.
And I think Neon is very good, and he has a good team now. So I just want to play against him.
How important do you think it's going to be to ride the momentum of taking down G2 today in the hopes of taking down Vitality as well? And what can you say? I don't know if you've been able to watch their game today, the first one, but anything you understood from the team today?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think their draft was fine, but they played bad for the bot matchup especially. I mean, I think they know it, right? Because I think Kate Lux should be stomping this lane. So, I don't know, I think especially from last week, we got a lot of infos on us, not in the gameplay, but more in the atmosphere, how to prepare for match day. We were making it so hard for ourselves, just so much pressure. And now we just said, it's just a scrim day, just laugh. And that's what happened today. And I think we were in the comms, if there is voice comms, you will just hear that we are just trolling Perma. And that's what we do in scrims,
Okay.
So I think we should just take it as a scrim and enjoy it. Because if we put too much pressure on ourselves, we won't play as good as we do in scrims. And that's what we did, and we beat G2. So
lifting the pressure and just playing as you guys do in scrims. I know that when I talked to you after the games last week, you were saying that you're still not quite used to playing on stage. Is it better now? Are you getting used to everything lights on?
I fixed the audio, the lights, my screen, because in game 1 against Mad, my fog of war was very scary. So now everything is good. I can play the game, and I think it's still a bit of pressure. But I think today was like the hardest because it was G2, right?
Yeah.
And I am looking forward to the next 2 matches because it's good bot lanes. I respect them a lot, and I want to play against them.
Yeah, keep on getting these achievements. Exactly. Thank you so much for the interview and for joining me today. And we have more to say on this game, so back to you, Shox, in the studio.
Thank you very much. It was great to hear from Exakick, and also awesome to see the footage of him taking the photo with Hansama. But he whispered to him, "I'm going to destroy you in the game." That's not what happened. Mark
well, he did destroy him in the game.
Yeah,
Maybe not the whispering part.
But Exakick actually was asked about like Hansama, and he said, I actually didn't do anything. It was all my team. And I think that's very kind of him. Of course, it was a team effort. But you were on a different planet today. Wow, what got into you?
I mean, I realized last week that I was just inting a bit, so I didn't want to do that this week. So yeah, I just tried to not int.
That's a good plan.
The opposite's really good, right?
That's a great plan. I saw confidence. I loved it when you're posturing, when you're fighting like 2v3 and you're posturing, dodging the spells. I was like, ooh, this is Markoon that I know. The confident Markoon.
Yeah.
It was very nice to see.
Also, Yamato, you were saying that you felt that G2 got draft gapped super hard.
Completely. I think if there's any situation where, like the moment Lulu and Varus and Yumi Sivir is locked in, I think everything that needs to be picked around it needs to be front-to-back champions because everything is going to be around these champions. The fact that SK recognized this, they slammed the Sion, they slammed the Azir 4-5, I think makes it so much easier to play because if maybe the situation would be different if G2 would pick Azir on 4 and all of a sudden the range disparity is not going to be quite the same. But this time in this composition, it felt like you guys were breezing as long as you're 5 people on the same screen.
Analysis on point, or?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, we kind of realized in game as well that we needed a tank, so my top laner just randomly pulled out his Sion. And then, yeah, we rounded out with an Azir. It's a perfect company you in my mind. Tank top, Azir mid, Hyperscaler on bot, and then, yeah, you win the game.
And the Spider, Elise is back. Of course, we've seen it across the globe a little bit, but really doing well in the LEC today.
Yeah, and I love just like trying to path away from Yike invading on the top side. We've had a lot of discussion around like how in general you want to play the early game jungle play style, and Yike's so much about counter jungling that I love going for the Elise here, just split mapping and super punishing bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, in-game, I wasn't really expecting to be able to dive bot here. I thought more that I was going to look for Graves and try to shut him down a little bit. But then I realized that he was actually my topside jungle and he left his bot lane alone, I just kind of went for the dives.
Yeah, and you already want to be bot lane anyways, because like you're never going to gank for a Sion top lane. Forget about that. So it just feels super nice to be able to get those guys super far ahead.
Yeah.
Cool. Was it surprising to you, Yamato, that you felt the G2 get overzealous in a way?
I think that generally speaking, in terms of the pathing choice, Graves ending up on the wrong side, and then, you know, if it's more contentious, Elise maybe is fighting Graves in the jungle, maybe it will play out different, but then plain and simple, I think after they dove bot, I think everything was in your hands. I think you guys had a stronger composition, and I think with everything how it played out, I think this was a pretty straightforward game. I think if you fall behind and you have the weaker composition, all is in the hands of, in this time around, SK, and I think that you guys played by far your best game so far in the split.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So how much do you feel like you made a click this week? Because of course you had to play 3 games back to back, and it's difficult to like review it in the minute.
For me, the biggest click came after day 2 when we were all actually like on match day. We're already like kind of nervous and the stage fright and this kind of stuff. And in scrims, we're always laughing. It's not too serious. We don't take ourselves too serious. So after that, I think BDS game, the day 2, we just realized we have to have fun on stage as well, or we can't play like we do in scrims. So then that game 3, we started laughing more, and I think then it really clicked for me that you just need to have fun on stage as well and you will play better.
Oh yeah, you told us that actually last week, but it's a different thing to actually do it and put it to work, but you did so. And it's cool to see the elation on your faces, and congratulations, what a big victory.
Thank you.
For SK. We're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, it's time for Mad versus Excel. See you in 3.5 minutes-ish.
Yeah,
give or take.
something like that.